Yo, what's up? Rudy Rush here. Thank y'all, everyone, for rocking with us. You can't rush success. We are back with another episode. Listen, you can catch us on, of course, Mean Online Media. This is a show where we talk about success in a manner of letting people understand that your journey is not necessarily what your friends think or what the populace think or what other people feel like you should be doing with your career. We just want you to acknowledge the space around you and the journey and enjoy it and embrace it and to understand that every day that you get up and try to do something even more important with your life, your success already. And this is how we meet people of different walks of life and find out their journey and how they pivot and how they move forward or how they become what some would consider successful at a young age and have to keep moving on. So with that, I want to introduce our next guest. This young lady is definitely made for this show. One thing about her, I would say before I bring her on, she has worn many hats and continues to do so. But I met her, I was a young comic in New York City, and she was a concert and club promoter. And we'll talk about that and amongst other things. She's an author. She's, of course, like most women in the modern day, she's a single mom who has raised a young man who is off doing some fantastic things. We'll get into that a little bit too. But she's also been a singer, background singer, and all different types of things. And right now she's doing some fabulous things and works for people who are in need and bringing attention to a situation that's very close to her because she's actually going through it herself. So please welcome to the show, Miss Lisa Ray. Lisa, what's up?
Hey, Rudy, how are you?
I'm good. Did you like that intro?
I thought that was fabulous.
So just welcome to the show. Thank you for spending some time with us. You had a pretty busy week. I know it's been really busy for you because you had some programming going on. You had a big function that went on the other day. We'll talk about that. But I want to just talk about your beginnings in the business. Now, when I met you, you were a club and concert promoter, which means for people who are listening, I met you. You were host, one of the hosts slash promoters at this club called the Manhattan Proper in Queens, New York, and it was one of the preeminent comedy clubs or comedy venues in New York City, which I myself benefited from being booked there several times. How did you get into concert promotion, and where you started your career?
Okay, so how I got into it. Well, first of all, the way that I started actually, I did a little modeling here and there because I would be places and people would say, "Do you model?" Or, they found me to be very photogenic. So I wasn't really into that, but I did it because I was an aspiring singer. So I figured if I model, that's going to compliment the singing, correct?
Yeah.
So anyway, I had a good friend who actually was the former. I don't know if you ever heard of the Entertainers basketball tournament, the EBC in Harlem,
Yeah.
and actually he established that along two managers of mine, Greg Marius, the late great Greg Marius, and also Robert Wells, also known as Gusto. So they were our managers. I had a group called Delicious. I was the lead singer, and Teddy Riley actually produced a couple of songs for us. So we thought we was gonna, well, back then I was like, we're gonna be the next Supremes, whatever. Um, that didn't happen, but that's okay. As a result of me going into the music business, being in the studio, being around all these celebrities, I really found that it was really male dominated and I really didn't like that. So I kind of lost interest and I wanted to be respected as a businesswoman. Hence, I started doing birthday parties, different type of parties, and so many people would come out. And as you know, Diane Gibbs, a close friend of mine who we grew up together, went to high school together. We used to go to these different comedy clubs, and we went to the Uptown Comedy Club on a regular basis. And we were there, and we said, you know what? Diane said, we should bring this to Queens. I said, yeah, we could do this, and let's make it happen. So that's kind of how I got into the whole comedy thing. And no one comes to Queens, but Manhattan proper, 217th and Linden Boulevard was popping on a regular. And if you got off the plane at JFK or LaGuardia, your next stop was there on a Tuesday night.
No,
And
absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. I can remember vividly, and it's funny you say that because, for most people who are listening to us who are not in the New York area, who have not been, or those who listen to us who know, Queens was not the place, especially on a Tuesday, where you would think that you would be somewhere where there would be I mean, people were not being let in that place because it was so crowded. The audiences were so large. It was such a place to be. And what made you think, because you and your friend just had an idea. You had no prior promotion experience, especially with comedy shows. So how did it work? Like, what formula did you use? Because New York is a place of word of mouth, but what did you guys use to bring this club to prominence?
Well, to be honest with you, the Diane had the idea, and then it was going to be her and I, and then somehow her brother was involved, her brother-in-law was involved, and two of his friends. So somehow they pushed me out, which was kind of weird. And and then, but what happened was Diane was like, "No, Lisa's supposed to be a part of this." I was supporting my friend, which was Diane. And I had people coming in there from all over. I know a lot of people. Anytime I said I was doing something, people came out. So
Mm,
because so many of my people were coming, they was like, Lisa needs to be a part of it. So much so that yes, I became a part of it. So much so that Diane and I were doing all of the work, creating all of the opportunities for comedians, and we were serious about it. We had a vision, and we said, okay, we're going to do this all the way.
mm,
And it got to a point was like, okay, anybody else is going to do this, you're volunteering because we're doing all the work. And
mm,
that's how it became just her and I. And we were really nonstop entertainment because we were
mm,
nonstop. Bob Sumner actually was someone who kind of came in and gave us the formula because we would go to the Peppermint Lounge, and he
mm.
came and he supported us. He backed us. He was, behind us all the way. And so really, those are some of the little backstory.
Yeah. So we're talking with Lisa Ray, and the funny thing to hear that story, it was an experience of my own to see that all come together, almost if not longer than a 20-year run of great shows and nurturing a lot of the comedic talent in the New York tri-state area, because people like Kevin Hart and Wanda Sykes and other comics from like Mike Epps and others really got their start doing clubs in rooms like the Proper. And so, you guys are owed a lot of gratitude. I don't know if you get those flowers that, we all talk about, but it was definitely a place where, if you could make it there, you knew that you were really good in comedy and stand up. Because if I got a call from you or Diane to say, hey, we need you tonight, it's like, yo, that's the spot to be, and they need my talent. So I must be doing something right. Moving forward, you moved on from that, and then you went into corporate America for a while, but the itch to get back into entertainment and other things, you couldn't escape that. So you got into doing some other things. You did some singing venues, and you did some books. I believe you wrote a book. Let's talk about like your transition from leaving the comedy promotion into the other things in entertainment that you did.
Well, let me just say that you never really leave because people, no matter how hard I try to get, they keep pulling me back in, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I worked on Wall Street for 30 years. And then when the market crashed in 2008, I still was there. A couple of years later, they eliminated my position, and I ended up having to go to the doctor because that's what we do as women. We go and make sure everything's good because I don't know how long I'm going to have this insurance. And I want to take care of myself. So I went to the doctor, and there was a polyp on my womb,
Mm,
and I had to have a biopsy. And while I was waiting for that procedure, I was home one afternoon, and I just went like this, and I felt a lump on my breast. And so I had two surgeries within 2 weeks of each other. Both of them were
mm,
benign, thank God.
mm,
However, if I hadn't gotten laid off, or they had not eliminated my position, who's to say I wouldn't have gone to the doctor and
mm.
what it could have been. So I'm grateful to God that it was nothing. And from that point on, different issues going on, a little bit of slurred speech, a little bit of balance issues. And, you get on the railroad and you wear these flip flops. And I was running to the doctor one day and I fell. So the first thing you do is you turn around and look and like, what's behind me? And everything was level. So it was, maybe it's a flip flop. So I go to the doctor. The doctor said, stand here, count to 50, march in place with your eyes closed. So I did that. And when I finished, I started on one side of the room and ended up way on the other side of the room. And I said, "You tricked me," and I'm clowning around. But clearly something was off with my back. Fast forward some years go by and I was having some issues. I sprained my ankle and it never got better. You sprain your ankle all the time. It swells up a little
Mm.
bit, gets better. It never got better. If you ever seen people walking like Frankenstein, maybe dragging their foot, either they had a stroke or something else is going on, which I'm going to get to that. And they never diagnosed me with anything. And I went through this for about 8 years.
Wow.
So much so I would sit home and go, God, am I dying? I really didn't know what was happening to me. So one day I went to do karaoke at Manhattan Prop with a friend, and I had excruciating pain in my back. Couldn't stand up. The next day took me to the hospital. I ended up in the hospital for 5 days. They removed a couple of discs. Prior to that, the doctor said, if you don't have a surgery, you'll be crippled. And I'm like, whatever. I'm not having no surgery. I'm paying him no mind. But then when that started happening to me, I was like, it's happening. It's happening. Oh my God.
Mm.
So I ended up with this thing. I have this drop foot. That surgery was supposed to help it. Never got better. 4 years go by. I fell over 20 times in 1 year. And
Mm.
I was so frustrated that I was practically yelling at these doctors, you don't know what you're doing, whatever it is. And I went to a PA and I saw about 5 different neurologists. When I went to the PA, the physician's assistant, he said, we're going to do this. Because of him, I was able to get a diagnosis. And what they diagnosed me with multiple sclerosis.
Wow.
So I found this sick. And now I know, at least I know what I'm dealing with. I know how to pray. I know how to fight, what I'm fighting for. And that's how it started. That's how multiple sclerosis, like, what's that? You do know Montel Williams has it. I knew Lois
Hmm.
Falana had it, but we don't talk about it in our community, so I didn't know a whole lot about it. So I started really, I started getting treatment. I get an infusion every 6 to 8 weeks. So you go into like a cancer center and they give you this infusion and you sit there and you get your treatment and it's supposed to slow down the progression of the disease. There's no cure for it right now, but I have faith in God. So I'm like, God, I'm healed already. So I fight. I don't let it overtake me. I'm dealing with some symptoms, but if you listen to people, you listen to doctors may say to you, you can't work. What? Yeah, I don't know who you talking to. No, I can work. And so when I was going through my rehabilitation to get to the book, I started writing poetry. And I've been writing poetry since I was about 7 years old. Next,
Mm.
I was like, I have a book. I have to publish this book. And God gave me the title of the book 3 years before it was finished. And that's Angel's Heart Guided by Light. My middle name is Angel, hence comes the Angel's Heart Guided by Light, because God was really speaking to me and through me to encourage people and encourage myself.
Let me ask you a question, and this is very interesting because I know a lot of the story because I know you personally, but during this time, you kept a lot of it not so much a secret, but you had to deal with so much more, even just the fact that, like you said, people can't go to work or can't do this and can't do that. You had so much on your plate at the time, and without much help, and you were raising a young man at the time. Your son, when you got the diagnosis, I believe he was a teenager or just about to become a teenager. So how was that shock of being, diagnosed with MS, all of the things that that you have to accomplish for yourself just to financially take care of yourself, and now you have a young son. Like, what was that shock like?
Well, my son was actually graduating from high school.
Mm.
And we were looking at colleges. We were going on college tours. And he was actually driving at the time. Sometimes I was like, okay, I can't drive anymore. I've had enough. You have to drive. And he was 16 years old. And I said, don't worry, you're going to college. Wherever you want to go, don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. I told him, you just keep getting those good grades. We're going to do this. I got you. So that's what he did. He got the good grades. He got partial scholarships. And it came down between Marymount Manhattan College and Syracuse. And both had great programs for what he was going for. And I said, whatever you want to do. If you want to go away, you can go away. Whatever you want to do. But even with him ended up going to Marymount Manhattan, he stayed in the dorms, which was fine because I
Mm.
wanted to have that college experience. So he lived in the city. He was on his own. He was
Yeah.
working. He worked 2 jobs, plus had rehearsals and did what he needed to do. finished with a 3.6.
Mm,
And it was in a production every semester on top of that. So I even called the school and I said, okay, I understand you offering this scholarship. Can you give me more? I would ask for more, and I got more for my son.
mm,
So my whole thing is nothing is etched in stone, and closed mouths don't get fed. So I spoke up and I wrote letters and did what I needed to do to get whatever I could. His late grandfather, God rest his soul, helped out, and my son, his grandfather unfortunately died maybe the semester before he was graduating. So
mm.
my son had one loan. This school was like 50 something thousand dollars a year. My son had one loan for $11,000 and paid that off his first year of after he graduated, and has been in the business ever since, earning a living for himself.
Wow.
So that is good.
Listen, and so I just want to say this, Lisa. It's like, the show is called You Can't Rush Success. And it's about the success of people and how, resilient they are, and the things that, like when you said, and I know the story with your son and yourself, just to say to a person that, all you have to do is be great and I have your back. A lot of us didn't receive that as we grew up, coming up. Our parents, no fault of their own. They maybe never was shown how to do that. So we try to break the cycles. And, it's very rare that you see a young African American man who has, not only the support of his mother, but the full support of someone who says, hey, listen, I acknowledge what you're doing. I acknowledge that you're trying to be great, and I'm going to be just as great in backing you up. And that's kind of how you were with us as comics. You would give us kind words, or you would put us in positions, or if somebody was popular, you would make sure that, hey, these people are going to be at the club tonight. You need to be seen. So you've always had that in you, and now you're taking it a step further with what people would call an affliction. You just say that this is what God put on me because I need to help others. Let's talk about the foundation that you have now and what you're doing for people like yourself who have MS.
Okay, so the foundation I established, well, first, Angel's Heart Guided by Light, that book was as a result of my name. I asked my mother many years ago, I said, why did you name me Angel? She said, because you look like a little angel. I said, okay, I'll take it. I was really smart as a little girl. I was skipped, and I was always pretty sharp. And in fact, I found out I lost my sister last August, and when some of my brother's friends came to visit, they said, you know what your brother told us when he was about 5 years old? I said, what? He said, Lisa's the smartest one in the house. I said, really? Really? Okay, that's fine. No, but so I wanted to, going back to MS, I wanted to help others because and help myself in the process, because this is therapeutic for me to be able to help other people. And I'm a person that I don't have fear when it comes to things. I'm like, if there needs to be someone that needs to advocate or to fight for someone, I am your person. Lisa goes to Washington, I'm at the table. I have an ability. So because I have mobility issues, or because someone has a cognitive ability issues, you want to limit them on what they can get and what they can receive or what they can do for themselves
Mm.
financially. And I disagree with that. So I wanted to help people, and I said that I was going to establish this organization. That was my next thing after the book. And over the pandemic, over COVID, I was able to do that. So the name of the foundation is Angels Hearts with an S for Hope Foundation Inc. to bring awareness to multiple sclerosis and to encourage and motivate and inspire people to tap into what's great in themselves and believe in themselves and never give up. There's always hope. So
Absolutely.
that's
And yeah, that's fantastic. And the great thing is you just had an event that was very successful, and it brought out a lot of people. And I have to say, like, it's amazing to see all of the connections that you had, like Ralph McDaniels and other folks just popping in. It's just like, it as much as we didn't realize it at the time, you grow up in a small, and you hear this not just in New York, but you hear it in Philadelphia. You hear Music Soul Child on, eating fries with Jill Scott or something like that. Like these, there's so many stories of small communities of entertainers and people of like-minded stature, and you have that. You'd be surprised how many people know Lisa. You just think Lisa a certain way, but then these different producers or music people or corporate folks are all like, oh no, if Lisa's doing it, I'm down. So how does that serve you in terms of this new mission and this new walk that you're taking with you, not only your MS but helping other people, and now you have all of these relationships you could pull from?
well. Let me just say this: we all need each other. There, even back then when we were doing comedy, I was promoting. You was a comedian. I gave the platform. You provided the service. So it works hand in hand. Now I'm at a different place in my life where maybe I'm not really promoting once in a while, but I am promoting wellness now. I am promoting life now. And having those relationships, having established relationships for many, many years, like for instance, Drew Frazier was one of our hosts, Kenny Williams was as well, and of course, Talent was our first long time host. And all three of them came on and, can speak to who I am, can speak to my character as well as yourself, can speak to my who I am as a person and my drive and who I was before and who I am now. And you guys know that I fought then as much as you guys didn't want me to fight. So,
Yeah. Yeah,
um,
you was kind of mean back in the day, Lisa.
I,
No,
I was,
no, no, no. You was about your business, and if you wasn't about your business, you would get on us. And in hindsight, that was always great for all of us, but especially for us because it helped us be more professional when we got up and up in our careers. So thank you for that. Yeah.
but you're welcome. And so I am now on a super mission to help people. And those relationships, I said, you know what? We had Omicron, we had this stuff is still around, stuff is still going on. I wanted to celebrate my birthday. I have a board, and we talked about a book drive some time ago. So we said we would do it virtually. And I said, let's do it on my birthday, perfect time. People come out for birthdays. And then because I have this new organization, this foundation that we're looking to raise money to help people, to provide resources, to provide scholarships, to provide hope and to service our community. I'm a part of a group called MS Finest, which is a group of people that have MS on various levels. Some are in scooters, some in wheelchairs, some with canes, some no presentation. But that's what I'm starting with. It's people from the 5 boroughs. And so I dedicated my first book to them, as I promised.
Mm.
And now I told them I would be starting a nonprofit, which I've done. And now they are the first people that will benefit from it because we don't speak about it in our community. And I also wrote a play called Life is Poetic. And I speak about MS. I bring it to life through dramatic role play. And it's really a wonderful thing. Some seasoned people like myself and millennials. And so when I did this book drive, this virtual book drive, a lot of people came out. Some people that were a part of that. Life is Poetic. Ralph McDaniels, good friend of mine, people I work with in the community, King of Kings Foundation, plus my board members, plus just good old solid relationships, good friends that believe in me and know if I say I'm going to do something, it's going to be done. And we sought to raise $1,500 and we exceeded that. And I am so
Wow.
humbled because this is my second event. And
Wow.
it should be a slow build because I'm learning in the process.
Yeah.
But I know God has great plans for me. And if He has it for me, the benefit is going to be in the community. And so I'm really excited about it.
Well, you excited. I'm excited. We're all excited here. Now, I see, you've been spending the time in the studios a lot. And are you doing any podcasts or thinking about doing any radio projects? Because I see you're a little sneaky. You just pop up and then you'll be doing something. So what's going on? What's coming up?
Well, this is the thing. I work at a college studio. And Kenny and I actually had a show together called Laugh Therapy for 2 years. And it was wonderful. And he even thanked me because he said, as a result of him doing that radio program consistently for 2 years, he started teaching again virtually. So I'm like,
Mm.
wow. And I know you and
Mm.
him had a show as well. So
Yeah.
it's just amazing. It makes me feel good for people to thank me because I'm thanking him and he's thanking me. And um, so I do produce shows, I engineer, I love what I do. I spent a little time away, since I lost my sister because I just couldn't deal with it. Prior to my sister, I lost my mother a year and a half prior. So that was the first time I really took time for myself. And then even in taking time for myself, I helped my brother to get some of his benefits, VA benefits. I'm the youngest and I always get on everybody, the one with the vision, the business head. So I helped my brother, and then I eventually came back because God said it was time. So I will be working on some stuff, and I do want to do a
Mm.
which speaks about stories of people overcoming adversity. and
So
bringing
I guess
awareness of customization.
so I guess your brother was right. You are the smartest one in the family. You still are, right? But so let me ask you this, Lisa, because knowing you personally and seeing your story, sometimes people talk about the greatness or the will of people when adversity strikes and you have to go through all of these different things. I seen you kind of take on hits that would take another person to a rock bottom place. I'm talking about, I mean, I've seen your struggles with being a single mom. I've seen your struggles with being a promoter or just dealing with the MS and how you really, you know, I told my aunt this one time, and I don't think I've ever said this to you, but now that I have you on this platform, I'm going to say this. My aunt who I grew up, you have your favorite aunt, and this is it's this almost mythical character. When they come by, they're your favorite aunt. They buy pizza. All the cool thing happens when she comes around. She's this great person. But then you get older, and as you well know, people don't tend to have that same light or same effect on you because you're older and you see people for what they really are. But with her, I have to say, I had to call her one day and I was like, you are who I always thought you were. And Lisa, you've always been strong and powerful, and just, your will to do things and make things happen in the light of adversity is unbelievable, because I've seen you go through a lot of it. Even as a friend with your MS, you got in a car and got across the bridge to come see me and perform, see me perform and support me, where you could have just stayed home and I would have understood. So just things like that, or what you do for your son and the things that he's doing now that are so, so, so amazing. I just feel like that's a testament to you and your willpower and how you can really affect people's lives. So you are who I thought you was always. You never changed. You never diverted. I never saw another Lisa that, oh yeah, see, I was in the haze of that angel thing, that little cute thing. But no, all honesty, you're a great person. You always treated me fairly, and I appreciate and love you for that. But also, you're just a strong individual, and I thought you being on this show would really just help people understand on a bigger scale, like success is much more than financial and all the clout and all this stuff, because you're bigger and badder and broader and than any other celebrity that I may have met in my travels in my life. And through being through a lot of the things I've been through, I've met a lot of people. So I just want to commend you, because I think there's even more to come. You're not done yet, and you're a shining example of what a success is. And we are very privileged to have you on this show.
Oh my God, thank you so much. You're gonna don't get me to crying. I was crying last week. I don't need to cry again. But thank you. Ah, 'cause I was brought to tears, and it's nice to, as you said, receive your flowers now. When you hear, sometimes you, as a single parent, single person, period, because my son will be 26 years old, so I don't know if I could keep running that one. But as a single person, sometimes feel alone. My plans and my daily life used to be kind of around my son, and he's a man now. So it's like, what am I going to do? So what I'm going to do, I'm running this foundation. I'm going to
Mm,
help change lives and help encourage people. And so sometimes you feel by yourself, you feel alone. You have a lot of moments to just think and just wonder what the future is going to hold. So
mm,
to hear people speak about me, and to hear what they think of me, or what they really feel, or the love that they express, it really makes me feel, it warms my heart. It makes me feel really good, because at times you may feel forgotten, you know what I mean? But
mhm,
last week last week showed me that no, I mean, the word said, Drew spoke, how we helped him to start his career, his first time on stage. And he's
yeah,
worked with a
yeah,
lot of people, yourself, Mike,
mhm,
Bill Bellamy,
yeah.
Tracy Morgan, JB Smooth, a
All
lot of
of us.
people. Cheryl Underwood came through. We've had so many people, and we enjoyed it. We loved it. We loved you guys. There was camaraderie that was built between us. And so to hear, even though I don't see everyone like I used to, and even though I'm not a part of everything that you're doing, but when we do see each other, there's still that genuine love and respect. And that, mm, I needed that. I needed that. That gave me something more to want to fight and keep pushing, because I have a group of people that are in my life that still believe in me. And despite my physical challenges, listen, I still always say, there's nothing changed but my limp. I still shake a leg. I'm going to show up. So if I'm feeling good, I'm going to show up. And I thank God that I can still drive and take myself places and hold on to my independence. That's so important to someone who I wasn't born with a disability. So imagine if this had happened to someone else, I believe it would have killed them. But for me, I drew from my strength, from my faith in God, and you're not going to keep me down. I'm going to keep going and rising above. And people do respect me and give, and I still get opportunities. So I'm ready now. I'm ready to help somebody else to fight too.
That's awesome. Where can people find you at, Lisa, if they're looking for you on Instagram or Facebook?
So on Instagram, I'm the real underscore Lisa Ray. On Facebook, my personal Facebook is Angel Ray. And then I also have one for the foundation, Angels Hearts for Hope Foundation Inc. on Facebook. And then I have a website, which is angelsheartsforhope.org. I'm also receiving donations. You can send donations to Angels Heart MS at Gmail. And that goes straight to my business account. And then if you're going to the website, angelsheartsforhope.org, you'll see a place where you can donate. And it's going to go to a worthy cause. It doesn't go to me personally. It goes to the foundation, and we in turn are transferring over to the people that really need it. So I'm in my beginning stages, but God is doing a work, and I'm looking forward to where He's going to take me and what I'm going to be able to do to empower and encourage others in this place.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa Ray, for your time and spending this afternoon with us on You Can't Rush Success. I mean, really, like I said, you embody what this show is all about, just kind of keeping things moving and just being a success within your heart and your life and how you handle adversity and everything. And I'm sure we'll see more of you. So when you got that next big project, please come on so we can promote it and make us look even better, because you got us looking real good right now. So
Awesome.
I want to,
Thank
I
you.
want to thank you. Thank you for coming on, and we love you. We appreciate you, and much success to you as always. Thank y'all for joining us. Don't forget to rock out with us. That's Lisa Ray. Make sure you follow her. I am your boy, Rudy Rush. Your man, Rudy Rush. You can't rush success here on Mino Lion Media on all podcast platforms. So make sure you check us out, and y'all have a great one. Stay successful.